I see. So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to this program, which is a business talk program with some amazing entrepreneurs. Today is the 16th of wheel is here, 16th of January, and today happens to be the first anniversary or the first startup day celebration. This was started way back. The startup environment started way back, but today we are celebrating the commemoration of the first anniversary of startup. And before I get into the subject of the day, and that is talking to three enterprising entrepreneurs, let me highlight something. It is said that about 90% of startups fail within the first 3 years. It is said that about 70% businesses which start fail in the first 3 years, and these are global statistics. About 85% of the businesses fail within the first 5 years, and 95% businesses fail within the first 10 years, which means the longevity of a business more than 5 years is only 15%. Global statistics, ladies and gentlemen. And longevity of business more than uh, 10 years is only 5%. But if you look around in the Fortune 500 list, there are hardly any companies which are European and specifically German. Businesses have fallen by the wayside. So my name is Malay Chakravarti, and I am the founder of Beyond Red Ocean Consulting. And we coach the small and medium businesses into achieving exponential growth, sustainability, and legacy. But today it's not about me. Today, on this day of startup commemoration, the three entrepreneurs who gave up great professional careers and decided to jump into the bandwagon of entrepreneurship. I'm not sure how long Sagnik and Neil has been in business, but Sagnik and Neil, I can tell you this much, Ripta completes 5 years on this 18th, that is day after tomorrow, right? So that's the story. So without much ado, let me start off with Neil. Neil, tell us about your business. How did you get into this business, and what made you move from a successful professional career into entrepreneurship?
Hi, am I audible?
Yes, loud and clear.
Fantastic. A small introduction about myself. My name is Indranil Malik, and I represent a 2018 startup, which is called Kitchen Supplies. And we specialize in providing curated gourmet meat products to the B2B segment. Now, the journey since 2018 has been very, very interesting, and we have at this present point in time about a market share of around 20-25% of the Kolkata market, catering to around 65 to 70 restaurants. We have a footprint in Bhubaneswar to a certain extent, and we are launching Siliguri by the first quarter of the next financial year. So that's a very brief introduction about the company. The concept of kitchen supplies came in because we saw there was a gap, a lack of good supplies of meat products. So whenever there's a gap, there's an opportunity, and I thought it should be utilized. Being part of launching teams of various corporates, working for 15 years. My last assignment was with a company called Colliers. We specialize in real estate. I was also part of the launching team for Godrej Properties in Calcutta. So I always wanted to do something of my own. So since 2015, we started with a small dip test of a cafe. Coffee was very interesting for me. The coffee culture had not taken up in Calcutta at that point in time. So we were the first artisanal cafe to bring in around 35 global blends into Calcutta. We were rated amongst the top 10 cafes in India for a substantial period of time. So and there we saw there was a huge gap in supplies. though we were a small cafe and I never wanted to open a restaurant, but whatever products that we wanted, we saw there was a huge gap. And that's how Meet came in, started doing my homework with Meet. And then we've been able to get some success in between over the years.
Oh, lovely. That's amazing. So we know Tripta is vegetarian, so she will not get into too much of a meat discussion, but you and I will get into a detailed conversation on meat. So you said 2018, so you're just about on the verge of completing 5 years, I guess.
We're on the verge of completing 5 years. So we should never not be called a startup after 5 years. That's what I'm told. That the gestation period of a startup is only 5 years, which is actually right, because we see a lot of startups oozing out in between. So I think today that we will be able to discuss that with all the other great panel members that we have.
So before we open up the questions for the audience which has come in, let's go to the lady who's about to complete 5 years. And I know, because I've known her for much longer than I known both of you, I know the amount of trouble and it's not trouble, challenges that she has gone through in the 5 years. So Tripta, what made you quit a career and get into this bandwagon of so-called entrepreneurship, which everybody likes to call ourselves entrepreneurs, but we know the challenges that we go through on a day-to-day basis. Yes, Tripta. Yeah.
So when I started my journey, it was very clear that I had no clue about what entrepreneurship is, honestly, and that's common with majority of us when we become as entrepreneurs.
True.
And the fact that I wanted the designs or the marketing activities that I do today under my name or under my label was the reason why I started my company. And it was a sense of pride. It was a sense of satisfaction that gave me more and more of motivation to keep going. And being in a COVID era as well, survived the COVID era, I see how my business has revived after COVID. And it's easy to say, but yeah, 5 years has been a journey, and I could see the transition from where I started and from where today I am. So it's three things that I would say for starting my business. It's the consistency, it's the belief in your own vision. It's the third point is more to do with people. You always have to take decisions based on people around you and your clients, your team. So it's not just about you or your startup. It's always about the team that comes along with the whole ecosystem that you built. So yes.
Tripta, you have probably touched the raw nerve of all of us when we talk in terms of people management. I remember 2 days back, I was with a client who's supposedly a $100 million client, and they are in the telephony space. And they said, Malloy, do something about people management. We can't get people to be aligned to our vision, but we cannot do, because the current team manages about 80% of their revenues. If you want other people to come in, these people go into a non-cooperation movement. So we have seen all that. Fantastic, Tripta. We'll come back to you and know more about your journey. Sagnik, you are the youngest of amongst the yeah, you're audible. So you're the youngest as far as entrepreneurship is concerned. We are not talking about age out here. So what made you jump into this bandwagon? And you're in a very different, interesting space.
Yeah, that's true. First of all, I like to thank you for giving me this opportunity to just talk about myself and my company. This is the best platform, I guess, as of now. I'm the owner of the EcoPR package. It's very just newly opened, not too much. It's about to come for 2 years right now. We just started by 2021. I was in professional career for 16 years. I was in Mahindra & Mahindra as a by education. I'm automobile engineer, and quite long time I was in automobile field. But I when I quit from the job, then I decide will not go with the job more, but definitely I have to do something. And I just identify throughout the market that what is the market need in present days. And I got the highest challenge that food is necessity on today's days. During the COVID period, I just identified that 100% people are suffering with the COVID, but they're not going with not food. They are getting food very much, and the restaurant, cloud kitchens are growing day by day through the online food delivery. Then I identified that every delivery has been come up with the plastic packaging. So I just thought that plastic have to be finished one day, not today, but future is not cannot be going with the plastic. Then I just understood that there is must be some product which are eco-friendly and non-plastic product, and by which restaurants, kitchens, hotels are can deliver their food to customer. Then I found the paper packaging is the ultimate future. Then start with the paper containers, paper bowls, which restaurant, hotels, cloud kitchens, cafe, takeaway counters, they can start sending foods to customer through non-plastic packaging. And from there, my journey has started. Now it's almost 2 years going to complete. And we are now supplying throughout Pan India, especially in West Bengal. We are presently dealing with small and medium scale restaurants around 70 to 80 right now. And day to day, day by day, it's increasing.
So amazing. All three of you are in businesses which is not run of the mill. So let's go back to Neil. Neil, why gourmet meat? You could have done so many other things.
So the unorganized sector is always a very lucrative point where one can think of doing something different. It's while it's nice to think outside the box, but it's always better. And I think as while you were shelling out those data about why startups fail, I don't know, it's a very personal opinion of mine that a lot of times these startup things and comes up with ideas, ideate the way which is not sustainable. So it is always better to take an idea and establish product and then channelize it into something which is more systematic, which is more professionally presented, and it has got a sustained market. Like he was Shagni was saying during COVID, I mean, meat, food for a Calcutta market, for any segment, roti, kapda, makan. These are the three things people would require, whatever the situation it is. Even if the world is stopping, you have to eat, you have to have your food, you have to have your home. So logically, that's how meat came in, because I was getting problems in sourcing good cuts meat products. And then it's a sustainable thing for any Bengali or anybody in this part of the country. Meat, fish is absolutely part of the ready diet. And this market was very, very unorganized. So it was an opportunity to get things, present things in an organized manner, charge a premium for the services, and cater to the ready market and expand the market, which is always there.
Interesting, because a lot of people, a lot of startups that I have known of want to get into innovation. And for a lot of people, innovation is doing something absolutely new. Whereas innovation could be just simply doing something better than what is actually happening in the marketplace.
Absolutely, because you have to innovate and ideate on a daily basis, but you have to innovate of what you've been doing to do it in a better way, not do something absolutely starkly different, which people might not be able to take it or create a market for itself. So you get a product, you innovate and keep working on it, fine tune it to a product so that it becomes more attractive to a client. That is very important.
Completely agree. And I think Tripta and I have continued to have these conversations where all of us and all the new organizations are always in a cash-strapped situation. None of us are sitting on sorry to use this terminology, on wealth that has come in through some other generation to us. And within this cash trap, there is another problem, that is cash flow. Right? So while you may be making the money, you may not be making the cash on time. So it's better to do something that you're good at and try to establish it before you get into totally something new. But Tripta, from what you told me some time back, you're a finance professional. You're a banking and finance professional, education-wise. So what made you jump into creative?
So, yes, my graduation is in banking and insurance. I would just like to continue where Neil left about ideating and innovating. My company tagline says the same thing: ideate, innovate, and execute. So it's more to do with the thought of solving a problem It may be existing. That doesn't mean that you need to go and invent an industry altogether to become an innovator. You can always solve a problem and ask your why, what is the problem that it is solving. So the moment you get their why to answer that question, you are very clear that you need to follow a path or a vision takes you on its own. So that's what happened with me. And I saw a gap in consistency of marketing activities where people were wanting to manage their businesses, but at the same time, they were not having the uh, time or the energies to invest in marketing activities on a consistent basis. So that is where I thought of coming into the picture and becoming the mode of marketing for small and medium enterprises that are not able to set up their in-house marketing teams, and at the same time with experimenting their own ways of marketing with lack of expertise in the new age marketing, they tend to burn the cash, and that is more painful rather than doing so. The gap becomes to an extent that they go back and think that no marketing is better than doing a wrong marketing, whereas it is actually the opposite. You see the effect of not doing marketing 6 months later, but it is the consistency that you need to bring in. So when I started my company, the reason to keep the name Modicle was the same, that I wanted to be the right mode of marketing for businesses and solve a problem of being consistent with your marketing. So that's the inspiration behind starting from finance to jumping into marketing.
So before I get into Sagnik, Tripta, I have a question of you.
Yes.
And the question, because I deal with a lot of small and medium business owners on a day-to-day basis. And one thing that I have struggled consistently to communicate to the business owners is that marketing does not mean sales, right? And sales without marketing will always be handicapped.
True.
Because today, for any business, like if I look at my business, my total market size is 90 million, 9 crore small and medium businesses. I can't physically, even if I have 5,000 sales people, they will not be able to reach out consistently. So what is that one message before we get into the other discussion? What's that one message that you would want to give to people who are watching this on Zoom or on Facebook? Why people should get into marketing and why sales can always work better if there is a good marketing that is going on.
So thank you, Malloy, for asking that question. I always set this line very clearly that there is a thin line of difference between sales and marketing, and we as business owners struggle to differentiate between those activities. So the only message that I can give in this regard is that we can run a business without marketing. We can attain sales with certain measures or certain sales activities, but the moment you set your marketing right, your sales starts converting. So the conversion of your sales depends a lot on marketing. So it's not just the activities that you do, it's also the image that you build of your brand. So the moment you build a brand, the value is automatically created and your value proposition comes out to the customer very evidently, and they are happy to believe in what you are saying. So your reduction of sales effort is what you save when you become a marketing expert or you implement your marketing activities in your business.
Oh, that's very, very well said, because sales activity will always keep us to a small geographical presence. It cannot
Absolutely.
expand without marketing. Sagnik, you started this business when the government of India had not banned plastic,
Yeah, absolutely.
right? And you decided to get into something which at that point in time, I remember telling me that people are saying, why are you getting into this business when you're trying to compete with plastic?
Yeah,
What
absolutely.
what made today, in hindsight, probably you're in the sweetest spot because government has banned plastic and people will have to go to you or buy from you. But at that point in time, what was that decision? What was that decision, or what was that moment that enabled you to make this decision that I will not go into plastic and I will get into disposable?
Uh, to answer this question, I have to go back for just before 2 years.
Sure.
My wife has started a kitchen from home during the pandemic. We are living in a complex where there are some old ages people are also there. Some families are there who are not about to done any cook. So they give order to my wife, and my wife used to deliver the foods to all the families.
Mhm.
During that time, I identify whenever I go into market, when I am asking for some packaging require, they are providing me all the plastic containers. And we all very well aware that plastic and food, this is very, very much uh, uh, very pathetic condition. If I
Correct.
give any food in the plastic, and the plastic can be contaminated during the hot food inside comes on the plastic container. So that things just identify me that we should have to do something. Plastic containers is available in market, but must be there some alternate. So I started researches throughout Pan India. I'm not getting any alternate solution on that time, but I continue going searching. Then I just identify one manufacturer was there who are presently started. Just they are started. They are just started on 2020 December, and I searched it or during the February March around 2021. I identified that the one company is there who are just started with the replacement of the plastic packaging, but not the whole packaging items. They are just about to start with some portions of packaging which can be replacement of the plastic in future. From there, the journey started. But just I'm coming to the question you just asked me that government not yet banned the plastic during that time.
Yes.
Now government announced an policy that plastic should be banned. But please remember, government just banned the single-use plastic only.
Correct.
Nowadays, there are a lot of plastic items are there which are not single-use, it can be reused. But in food, there are two type of plastic packaging are there. Some are the single-use plastic, some are the non-single-use. You can reuse at 2-3 times. But my question is, whenever you go to the market, you can bring some fruits and vegetables. You can come with the plastic carry bag. That plastic carry bag can harm the environment. That we not just having that food directly with us, right? But whenever you order some biryani or dal curry or rice, and now the restaurant give you that rice or the dals or the biryani or chow mein, whatever you order in plastic container. Now the cooked and the hot food just put in the plastic container. Now the plastic particles are now contaminated with the food, and now you are having. So recent during the some studies, I just read some articles during last 6-7 months before. Some research has been done and found that plastic particle found in human blood too.
Mm.
This is very, very curious. So for that reason, plastic packaging from food delivery at least need to be immediately replaced. Whatever the things we are consuming on our daily life, that should not be delivered on the plastics. That is the most important. So there are lots of products are coming during our daily life. I choose the food is the almost the essential part. So now then I go with the food packaging item with non-plastic products. That's our journey starts.
Oh, fantastic.
Continuing.
Fantastic. But let's now switch, because I'm sure people who are watching us on Zoom and people who are watching us on Facebook will all feel entrepreneurship is hunky dory. Everything is fantastic. Lots of work, lots of money, lots of freedom. Right? Neil, let me go to you. You have been in this journey for nearly 5 years, and there must have been some challenges that you have faced. What are some of those challenges that you have faced, and how have you overcome them?
See, every single day is a challenge, and one should take every single day as a challenge, because that's what I think keeps an entrepreneur going.
I have
Because
to I have to interject you, and I'm sorry I have to interject you. You should have seen the smile on the other three entrepreneurs who are visible on camera. You, me, Tripta, and Sagnik, because we all that statement resonated so much with us that every single moment is a challenge. And
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
you could
Every
have,
single second is a challenge.
absolutely, because if it is, if they, I see it a different way. If there's no challenge, that means you're stagnated and you're not doing something different, or you're just not creating opportunities. So every single day is a challenge. But yes, for an entrepreneur, the biggest challenge for entrepreneurs like us who shifted from an established corporate life to an entrepreneur's life is the basic first thing is a stigma, the social stigma. Why is he leaving a good job and then going into business? That people can work, then get rid of it, and then get into business and then establish themselves, start all over again from zilch. That itself is a very big one. For people who are married like us, the parents, the family, establishing, maintaining everything was definitely challenge. But business wise, I think the first and the foremost challenge is product positioning and getting funds for whatever your product is. That is one challenge that we need to take care on a daily basis. The cash flow has to be right. It has to be a profit center as soon as possible, and keeping your costs down. I think these are the main challenges which I think any entrepreneur goes through in whatever phase of their operations they're in. And one point that that we were talking about a while back, Tripta was talking about it. The team. It's nice for the entrepreneur to dream, but it is also very important that your teammates, the people who are working with you, also sees a part of the dream that you are dreaming. Because if they are not in the same boat that you are in, there's always going to be there's sinking issues. So people have to be in sync with what you want to be. Your growth path has to be their growth path. It is not that the entrepreneur grows on his own, but the entire team has to grow along with it, so that they are also with you when there's a up, and they're also with you when there's a down. We face umpteen challenges, salaries being released late, products not available, vendors not available. But if the entire organization, if I could use that word, including the entire sales force and everything is with you, I think the job becomes a little easier.
fantastic. So I heard two important statements from you, and because I know I'm the four of us who are on with the cameras on, all four of us are first gen entrepreneurs at different stages of life. While when I go to Kolkata, I see entrepreneurs who have been generational for hundreds of years, so they don't have that challenge. But all four of us, I know I went through a social stigma when I left my job at the ripe old age of 45 and I started my entrepreneurship. The first person who questioned me was my mother.
Absolutely.
That will we get to eat? That you're giving up your job. So, Sagnik, Tripta, did you also get into this stigma kind of thing? That why not a job?
Absolutely.
Why not a job, and why entrepreneurship? Sagnik?
Yeah, absolutely. When I just quit my job, and that moment, my wife and my mother both are asking that, are you able to have some foods after that? How we will run our family? So that the moment I just told them, you have to keep for 3 months. I have that fund with me. I can easily have giving you food for the 3 months, not an issue. So when I start, I need only 3 months to just take in a market all over the Kolkata. And as soon as the funds will come, it will not very tough for us. We need to survive. Don't worry. Whatever happens, maybe what once that I should start with my entrepreneurship journey, not with someone's in the job right now. So I just managed to convince them.
Oh, you managed to convince them. I'm not too sure whether they were convinced, but I'm sure you managed to convince them.
They are not yet still convinced.
Yeah, they're still not convinced.
Yeah.
So, Neil, your family convinced about your entrepreneurship?
There have always been question marks. There's still question marks. If that's part of any close knit family structure.
Right.
But yes, the family support is very essential. Your as I was talking about, your staff has to be with sync with you. Your family should also be able to see the dream that you're dreaming. And with food trade oriented businesses, Shagnik would be knowing it. Any occasion is the most sleepless and the most busiest time for us. So that family also needs to sacrifice our presence, our absence during that time. But yes, there has been ups and downs, a lot of convincing, yes, fights and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, you have to get your work done, whatever way it is.
Yeah. Because I remember Neil telling me that his busiest period, when everybody in Calcutta was holidaying, his busiest period was 20th of December to 5th of January, when he had no time to breathe, because his food had to be there on the tables of others so that others could celebrate. But Tripta, before I get into this team piece, did you also face the stigma that all of us went through?
So I had a different kind of stigma when I started my business. So I started at a very young age, and being a lady, I remember my father questioning me that what would you do in your business? And honestly, I did not have a concrete answer to him. But yeah, I was confident on my dream that yes, I'll do something. And today he's proud of me, of what I'm doing. So yes, your family needs to be aligned with your vision or your thoughts. And always there will be a stigma even from your team. It's not that the team will be in the same boat. It's hard to find such people. It's hard to bring everyone on the same page. But yeah, that's what the challenge actually entrepreneurship brings on the table. So yes.
Yeah, I don't fall into that same boat, but I know of a lot of young entrepreneurs who, as they scale up, they need a quality of people, and that in many cases that person is way up senior than the entrepreneurship himself or herself.
Absolutely.
And to manage that team could be a challenge. So coming back to the second point that Neil raised, Tripta,
Yes.
people. Yes, it's very nice to say I'm a solopreneur, but you can only do so much and no more being a solopreneur, right? If you want to become an entrepreneur, if you want to reach out to the millions of people outside, you need to have team. So what are some of those secrets that you can give us about team management?
Being a service-based industry, being highly dependent on team and people, your relationship with them is vital. It can't be overlooked. It can't be underestimated in a case. You need to be there as their friend. You need to be there as a boss. So at the same time, you have to maintain a balance of complete thing. So I have taken this point from you, being with you since 1.5 years or 2 years max now, that your vision needs to be translated to your team. It cannot just sustain with you. So sharing your vision is one which is very much important. To making them feel and believe that yes, this is gonna grow and this is gonna survive to a longer extent than we think. So coming in their shoes, it's important to see a sense of long-term longevity, which is very vital from them, because they look for security, they look for assurance, they are depending the complete career to your organization. So it's not just we interviewing them, they also interview our skills and vision, what comes into the picture. So team challenges, yes, of course they will be there, and you always have to have backups. This is a very hard learned truth. I learn this every day, that it's not possible. You may have to take some poison sips at times to sustain in business, to deliver to the client, and the client is your key. So you again dealing with another people's side. You need to understand the psychology of a human being, where they are coming from and what they are bringing in complete as a value point proposition. So that's what.
Very interesting. I think one of the most important things that you said is that our employees interview us more than we interviewing them, because we have to give them a good why they should join and work for us, right? When there are multiple opportunities. Sadhmik, you also have these team challenges, and how do you manage
Team
them?
challenges is not important for me. Actually, I have a resource team. Basically, I can tell that the
Okay.
main part is this logistic part, one of the most challenge part, and that is the outsource. So not directly, it's coming for a challenge for me. Yeah, during the festive time, it's very challenging.
Mm.
Else throughout the year, it's fine, not an issue.
Mm. Mm.
Our main challenge in today's days is to understand people the what plastic harmful for food. That is the most important thing. People are just taking that in like a plastic is going on. Everything is everywhere is plastic available. Why should I take that non-plastic products? Are those sustainable or not? These things have to convince the people. Is the most challenge for us right now.
The product positioning, I think, is the
Yeah,
biggest
product
challenge for
yes,
product
biggest
positioning.
challenge. Absolutely. But still, people are now converting. It's slowly, but people are converting.
People are converting. So a long time back, there was this gastroenterologist who once told me that one of the biggest reasons for high degree of gastritis in people in Mumbai is called as stress gastritis. Because as entrepreneurs, we go through so much, and especially service businesses, they go through so much, and you are not able to vent out your emotions all the time. So you can't explode in your office, right? Every single day you can't show your temper to your team members.
No, no, that's not.
And as a result, we implode. And this implosion leads to a lot of health challenges. Neil, how do you handle these kind of stressful situations? Because I'm sure your business being one in the perishable space, second, high demand and too much of not high demand in terms of demand, which I'm sure you have, but demanding in terms of a business. It has to be on time, every time, perishability, quality, etc. And a lot of times it is not only you, it could be the mistake of somebody else, but you have to bear the brunt. How do you manage? Because how do you manage your basic mental balance?
See, our USP of kitchen supplies has always been that we deliver quality products, on-time delivery, and curated as per the requirements of the specific restaurants. So their yield is much higher. So the biggest challenge that we face is the supply chain, and that leads to a lot of sleepless nights. See, it's if there's a problem, that problem needs to be solved. You either shout it out or you just go out for a drive, have your coffee, think about it, come back, shout again, go out again, or rethink how you can solve it. So as an entrepreneur, as a leader of the organization, the first thing that you need to do is problem solving, whichever way it is. It might have an effect on your health, it might have an effect on the perception people have about you, but the problem needs to be solved because you have to deliver to your clients. As I said, my answer was there. I go out for drives, or I shout, or I have my coffee and then start thinking again and then solve it. Simple.
And come back and shout again.
Not necessarily. By the time the problem
Not
gets solved.
necessarily. Not necessarily. No, agree. Absolutely agree with what you're saying, that problem needs to be solved. How do you maintain your balance, Sipta? Because I'm sure you go through huge amount of turmoil, especially the kind of business that you are in. While Neil has high quality delivery on time, you also have high quality delivery on time, and customers saying, and especially in your case where sometimes I guess you're working on holidays, because 26th January is 26th January, the postings need to be made, but your team is on holiday and your office is closed. So how do you maintain your balance?
The very first thing is I do not focus on the uncontrollables. I just focus on the controllables that I have in my hand. So very, very evidently what I bring into the picture is that I need to breathe whenever such a situation is coming in. And it's very important from a point of view when you're dealing with people that you need to uh, focus in a way about going in a direction. So yes, things will be there, things will be in a not in your favor all the time. So you cannot really come up and show your own way of handling things. But yeah, it's more to do with how you manage your temper, and the easiest way is to breathe. That's most important. So that's what I do at times when I'm not able to. Yeah, you rightly said that went out what I want to say. I just want to take a breathe and get out of that situation or an atmosphere like Neil does of going on a drive. I would definitely go and have a walk for a different thought process that is going on. So focusing on the controllables is what I believe, and taking a long breath when it's happening it's much important.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I have some questions which have already come to me, but in another 8 minutes from now, we'll open up this for any questions that you may have for this wonderful bunch of entrepreneurs. Sagnik, how do you maintain your balance?
From day one, I have a clear vision. India has almost 70 lakhs restaurant, cafe all over India, which are organized actually, and unorganized is more than that. So I have a biggest challenge in that I have to put the not from me only, but it should be their non-plastic products for delivery of the food. Simple vision is clear for me. For that, that is the path I have to reach there. From to reach that path, I have definitely there are lots of people are asking for different types of words. I just not I listen everything, but not bother, which are actually required to go to that path, and definitely some words are required for me. I just honor on that part, and rest of the things every day. Challenges are there, should be, and challenge should be there. So I have to come up with that, and we have to go beyond that. Not an issue.
So, two questions that I have from all of you before I get into the audience questions. One, I'll start with Neil. Neil, how do you manage cash?
Sorry, I didn't get your question. How do I manage
How do you manage cash flow?
That's
Look at everyone smiling away to glory, including me, because that is a day-to-day rigor.
So
on a serious note, so I'm sure that all of us go through these challenges of management of cash, right? What are some of the things that you would recommend to people, or what are the things that you have been able to do in your business? Because I remember we doing a post that to get team, you need people. But to get people, to get a team, you need cash. But to get cash, you need people. Right? So it's a very vicious cycle. So how do we manage this?
See, cash flow is a problem of false promises. That's how I see it. Whenever we do a projection of collections for a month, we always add 30 days plus 12, because we know at least if the credit period is 60, it's going to land up in portions to us in 90. So planning is very important for cash flow. You have to plan your money, your whatever funds that's slated to come in your collections in a way that you are well protected. But saying the point, debt is also something very important for startups, or actual startups who've not have had the luxury of generations of money behind them. The raising of debt has always been an issue. There are sharks which are there which want to come in and probably take equity from you. But I think for any entrepreneur, holding on to your equity is very, very important, because that is the only thing that you're creating. For me, it has always, I've taken routes of small fundings, which I've raised, short-term fundings, until the product is at a stage where you can actually go big. Again, equity is out of question, but debt, yes, that's have always gone ahead. Small initial fundings, which would help me sustain.
Okay. Tripta, is cash a challenge?
Yes, cash is always a challenge. And the point which Neil mentioned about having projections, and I've made cash flows a number of times with you. Being pessimist in maintaining your cash flows is always a plus point. And you have to be prepared with certain loans or debt kind of a situation where you are answerable to your team, you're answerable to each and everything. You can't really play all the cards well. So you might have to at times go under the bridge for things which are very obvious to happen. So we can't do anything about it, but just yes, manage about it and have a better projection. And as time passes, you get better at it and you gain the confidence of making more and more better predictions or projections in that space.
Yeah, I think cash is always a challenge. And I think, again, Neil used a very, very interesting phrase. It is all about false promises and client taking us for granted at some point in time. Sagnik, you have cash challenges, and how do you overcome them?
90% of cash challenge is resolved as I did not give any credit to any customer.
Oh, lovely.
I used to work with 100% advance payment. That's why I'm not able to do business with some big restaurants or the hotels. But still, I am very happy that I am serving the medium kind of restaurants, the small kinds of restaurants, and some of the hotels and restaurants are there who are the big giant, but I'm work with them with 100% advance.
Fantastic. So I have one last question, and there is one question which has come in for all three of you. So, but let me get to my first my question. Sagnik, I start off with you. What is your vision for this business?
My vision is clear on the simple from the first day. I need to reach to the maximum level of the restaurants or the HoReCa industry, absolutely, to the hospitality industry. That is 70 lakhs of hospitality industries serving throughout pan India. And after India, there is export also there. So first I need to serve throughout the pan India, first in Bengal, then India, because Bengal we have at least more than 25,000 of restaurants all over Kolkata, and it should be 50,000 in Bengal. So I have the vision that I have to reach the 50,000 of restaurants by next 5 years. This is my first challenge through distributorship and the reseller and the best dealership. We are about to start the manufacturing. It will be started by March onwards. We are manufacturing in Kolkata right now. We are going to start.
So how are you finding the investment from? You're investing or you get an investor?
No, we are going with the MSME scheme.
Okay.
There is a scheme is Stand Up India scheme is there.
Correct.
So yeah, we are already getting the funds from central government.
Fantastic. I have one more question. I have one more question of you, Sagnik, but I'll first go to Neil. Neil, your vision of this business. Neil?
Yeah. No, I thought the question was the concept of Kitchen Supplies was to deliver quality meat products. Our vision was, and a target was, to be amongst the big players in the industry. Today, we are the largest competitors to Metro Cash and Carry, Big Basket, and Total. Arambag is, of course, no longer there in the B2B segment. Going forward, we plan to enter the D2C segment, wherein we are going to cater pocket-friendly quality meat cuts and ready to cook meat items to directly to the consumers. So, and of course, there are financial targets, which of course we always go after, because from day one, it always changed for us. The first crore was always a very lucrative target for everybody, for us. For in the next fiscal, we target to go to double digits, and then that's the journey. That's where the journey continues.
Fantastic. Tifta, your vision for Modicle.
So the industry in India of small and medium businesses is about 100 crores right now, and to make them digitally equipped or to be able to help them leverage on the digital era is what I look forward to cover as a Modical's vision. Um, I have bigger dreams in terms of personal achievements, maybe achieve a Forbes award or something. But having said that, Modical has a vision of aiding businesses to leverage exponentially on the digital platforms that they are unaware of. So I work with business owners who are 40 years into this business, but when it comes to digital, they hesitate to take challenges or they hesitate to invest in those businesses. They look for faster returns, which is actually not possible for any marketing agency who is promising that. I'm sure that they're taking some shortcuts which might not be long-term and beneficial. Sure. So to giving being the right mode of marketing, may it be from traditional to digital, the transition is important for businesses, and that's where I would be the right block or right mode of marketing for them. So reaching to a 5 CR turnover is what I look at maybe in next 2 years. That's a short-term goal, but yeah, having said that, the long-term goal is much more strong.
Yeah, and don't hide behind that statement like you need to be the Forbes under 40. So please make that happen. Please make that happen. So that is your goal. That is your goal. That is
yes,
not
that's my personal goal, to be Forbes under 30. Yes.
Yeah. Sagnik, vision. Yeah. Sorry. So sorry. We spoke about your vision. But ladies and gentlemen, all three of you, and if there's any questions from the audience, we'll be happy to address them. But Sagnik, one question that I want you to answer, and this is true for all of you, but I'll start off with Sagnik. Entrepreneurship, like we all said, is not an easy journey. It has to be driven by a deep passion. You should be able to walk on the thorns to get the roses. And a lot of people give up very soon. What is that one advice that you will give to young startup like all of you? And I'm startups, and I don't mean startup. I'm talking in terms of young businesses. Yeah. What is that one advice that you will give to all of them who are watching you, all of them who are ardently watching you and seeing your journey and hearing about your journey? Sagnik.
Yeah, right. I just giving them advice. What was my mission was that I just going with that only. Things it. You just go with that only. What market did, what you can do, and your passion. The three things should be matched. Once the three things should be matched, your whatever you will going with the business, that will click. If one of them is not matched, you should not go.
Oh, fantastic, Sagnik. Fantastic. I have one question that has come in from the audience, but I'll come back to you after Neil. Neil, what's that one advice for young business owners?
I think for young world, the most important advice is to keep dreaming and having sleepless nights, because one needs to dream with your eyes open and think and work towards it. Saying that, it's very important to hold on to your equity, because equity is to me is something which is the only asset that one creates. The assets and the equities that we create through the businesses that we create, we need to hold on to that. Think sensible, think logically, set achievable targets, and keep dreaming and having sleepless nights. and have a
Fantastic.
coffee with me.
And a coffee with you. Only a coffee, I guess, and nothing else. Yes, Tripta, Tripta, your advice to all those young entrepreneurs, especially the women entrepreneurs who have those. Let's address it. India is a difficult country, right? Women are told you get married, you will see what the husband tells you to do. Why do you want to work? So for all those young women entrepreneurs who don't come with the slary family background, what would you tell them?
Uh, I would say follow 3 C's, and the 3 C's are: very first thing, have the courage to be taking risks. It's nothing to do with what you can do. It's actually how much risk you can take in life. And second is conscious decisions. You may go by the flow, but at times you need to step back and take conscious decisions, which are good for your business, which are good for your team, which is good for your overall vision that you're trying to build. Third is consistency. If you can't if you can't really commit or be consistent in what you're doing, you may be, I don't say that you can't reach your goal, but you can't reach your goal optimally as a business owner. You may struggle to reach there with various gaps in the complete journey. So being consistent and being disciplined is what has brought me here where I am. It's not just where people of my age are enjoying and having fun in their life of young age, but it's important to realize that what you are doing is also equally important. It's
Fantastic.
parts which I work on.
Fantastic. So the last question to you, which has come in from the audience, is, and this
Yes.
is and this is for all three of you. If you were to rewind time, would you be doing this again, or would you be leading some other life?
Okay, you want me to start with that first?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is the last question for you. So
Okay. So yes, I would be doing it the same. I would be doing the same thing, but very differently. Uh, Having said that, I may have learned from my mistakes that I do, and everyone does, and it's
Correct.
okay to make mistakes.
Correct.
But to correct them is in our hand, and if you have the courage to correct them, so yes, if I go back in where I started today, I would be doing the same thing, but very differently, with a very different vision. But having said that, I follow my passion, and this is my passion, and would like to continue with the same.
So what you're saying is, we don't know what you would do, but you would do this business again and again, even if you were to rewind your time. Maybe the routes would be
lesser,
different.
yes.
Maybe the roads would be different, but you would not get into the comfort zone of a job. That's what I'm hearing
Yes,
from you.
that's
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure. Neil, would you be doing this?
Oh, absolutely. And I would also be wanting to make as many mistakes that I've done in the past, so that would help me grow and better and give the same answer probably next time I'm asked. Because I think the mistakes helps us to correct ourselves and look bigger in life and with our goals. Absolutely, this I will continue to do as many times as the opportunity comes in.
Fantastic. Pragnik.
Yeah, same for me. I will also like to continue, and I should also tell people that if everybody going to search for the job, then who will give the job to people?
Lovely. Who will create the
Yes.
job? If everyone is
Yes,
going to.
absolutely. Some people should be there to create the job.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, you have heard three amazing enterprising entrepreneurs. They've all gone through their walking on the pond, and they will continue to walk on the pond. I'm not saying that tomorrow onwards they will be walking only on the roses, but they will continue to walk on the pond. Amazing entrepreneurs. I have just a couple of messages for everybody who's watching, and I'll pick up from where Tripta left off. If you want to be truly successful, and you know your friends are partying, you should be working when they're partying. If you want to be truly successful, you have to work harder when people are working hard. If you do this for the first 10, 15 years of your business, the next journey of your business will be much smoother than anything else. And the second is, if you want to reach anywhere, have a goal, have a vision. Because without a roadmap, you start somewhere, you will go somewhere, which you do not know where that somewhere is. So have a plan, work towards that vision, and success will be ours. We are not in a race that I need to be faster in my success compared to somebody else. We are only racing with ourselves. We're not in a race with anybody else. Success and failure is ours. And it's for us to win that war and win that battle. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Neil. Thank you, Sagnik, and thank you, Tripta, for sharing your wisdom with a lot of business owners who are in the same boat like all of us, and who are also doing whatever they have to do to fulfill their dream. Any last comments, any one of you, before we close? Neil, any last comments?
Keep walking. That's it.
Keep walking, that's it. Tripta,
Yeah.
any last comment?
Keep breathing.
Keep breathing. Fantastic. Walk and breathe. Sagnik,
Keep encourage yourself. There are lots of problems in the world. Choose the right problem and get the solution.
oh, fantastic. Fantastic, Neil. Thank you so much, Neil. Thank you so much, Tripta, and thank you so much, Sagnik. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, who have been watching us. Today is the commemoration of Startup Day, and none of us are startups. All of us are existing businesses, but all of us have to keep on starting every single day when we wake up in the morning. Thank you so much. God bless you, and have a great
Thank
weekend.
you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.